Yeah, a 27-year-old male has been summoned to face culpable driving and drug driving charges following a fatal last month. On the 15th of September, a male died at the scene of a 3-vehicle collision on the Barton Highway with the intersection of the northbound exit of Gungahlin Drive. A third male was taken to hospital with serious injuries. ACT Road Policing Major Collision Team conducted an extensive investigation into the circumstances surrounding that collision, and as a result, yesterday the male was summoned to appear in court. Police will allege that this male was driving a tow truck carrying a 10-tonne excavator when he ran a red light at 80 kilometres an hour, killing the male, a 45-year-old male in a Ford Falcon sedan, and obviously injuring the third male seriously. Whatever happens next will be determined by the courts. Obviously, mandatory blood testing was conducted and a positive presence of cannabis was detected as well. This was a tragedy that was completely avoidable. The male will appear in court on the 19th of November on 3 charges: culpable drive causing death, culpable drive causing grievous bodily harm, and having a prescribed drug in his system.
Can you tell us a bit about the man who died and where they were headed?
The 45-year-old male, to my best of my knowledge, was headed to the COVID testing station at the time. I don't know much more about him.
Is there any, were they turning right on a green light? Is that what happened?
Yes. So the truck driver, police will allege, has completely gone against the traffic signal and run the red light.
The other man who was injured in the crash, can you give any update on his?
He has extensive injuries, and as a result, his life has changed dramatically.
This it goes to the point that beyond the person who's been killed here and another man seriously injured, there's sort of some reciprocal flow-on effects, isn't there, from a serious crash like this?
Oh, absolutely. One family has lost a loved one, another family and a male now probably has his whole life changed. It's completely unavoidable. We talk about this all the time. It's on our road safety calendar. It was only about 3 months ago we were concentrating on red lights. We see it every day on the roads. We're now coming out of lockdown. There's going to be a lot more people on the roads. It's not worth that extra 5 seconds to get around, to not only kill another person but also maybe yourself. So, our message is, if you're coming up to a red light, if it's amber, stop. It's as easy as that.
What sort of penalties could the man who's been charged be facing?
He could be facing 14 to 16 years, depending on the facts. Yeah.
And how's the deceased driver's family holding up?
I couldn't answer that. I'm sorry.
Do you have family man,
I don't. That's a matter for my members. I don't have that information.
It's a judgment call, isn't it? When you're driving a heavy vehicle and you've got an excavator on the back, you really have to make a judgment call on what your braking distances are and whether you can make it through that amber light or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it is absolutely a judgment call, and we have road users who pull out in front of these big heavy vehicles, which is really hard for the operators to stop. And it's the same with these heavy vehicle operators. They need to know that the impact of them of what could happen if they run a red light, and we've seen it here today. On the 15th of September, that was a horrendous accident for all the first responders who attended as well. My members, we get sick of attending these, and so do the paramedics. And there was a number of witnesses as well, civilian witnesses who stopped to give aid on that day. The repercussions are far and wide.
Was the man driving this car the accused, was he working on the job at the time?
Yeah, he was working for a company at the time.
Do you know how experienced he is?
No, I'm sorry, I don't have that information.
How long since the light had gone green?
How long since the light had gone green? Well, it had obviously gone green for quite a while, because the Ford Falcon driver was quite out in the middle of the intersection, so he hadn't taken off.
So we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds.
Absolutely, yeah. So both vehicles were in the middle of the intersection when it occurred. So it's not as if it's gone, it's just turned.
Which So he hasn't run an amber, he's definitely run
He's run a red light. Police will allege that he's run a red light, not an amber light.
Do you have any road vision from the lead up to the crash, like of the truck on other roads?
Sorry, I didn't hear that question.
Do you have any vision of the truck on other roads in the lead up to the crash?
I don't have that information, but I'm sure my investigators would have looked at that, yes.
And was what else in the car in front that it was the first car to take off?
So if that intersection, you've got the right and the left lanes turning. So the Ford Falcon driver carrying the deceased, was in the right lane, so it was in the inner lane as it was turning right. Yeah.
On the police perspective, is this investigation over? Or are you
Oh, look, police are always calling for witnesses who may have further information or may have seen something on that day and have not yet spoken to the police. A media release is coming out with the referral number, but we would ask that you contact ACT Crime Stoppers or get onto the Crime Stoppers website. We always like to hear from other people to make sure that we have the whole picture.
things like dash cam footage are fairly valuable, aren't they?
Absolutely. A mandatory blood test was conducted and it detected positive cannabis.
And is that known to affect driving ability?
Well, I can't comment on that because I'm not a medical practitioner.
Do you know if he actually was on cannabis at the time, or if it was just like
They're matters that will be discussed in court.
Do you know what the impact speed was?
80 kilometres.
80 kilometres an hour?
80 kilometres an hour.
Well, what's the speed limit there?
The speed limit at that it is 80, so he was doing the speed limit, but he was doing the speed limit while going through a red light, so
Were there any signs of braking before the truck?
no. Police will allege there was no signs of braking.
I'm gathering the truck has collided with the passenger side of the Ford Falcon, is that correct?
Yeah, it's collided with the passenger side and both vehicles have travelled about 50 metres prior to stopping, and then both vehicles, I believe, have hit the Toyota Land Cruiser, which has been propelled another 60 metres, which had the injured male in it.
so the Land Cruiser was actually turning?
Yes, it was, but obviously it's that flow-on effect of the truck has hit the Ford Falcon, which then both hit the Toyota Land Cruiser, and my belief the Toyota Land Cruiser was propelled 60 metres. When police arrived at the scene, the Toyota Land Cruiser was across the road and had rolled, so it was quite a significant impact.
The driver's side of the
Drivers
Falcon.
the only occupants in the
Yeah, in all three vehicles, the male drivers were the only occupants.
Is the man with serious injuries, is he still in hospital?
I can't tell you that, I'm sorry. I don't have that information.
So the Land Cruiser, was it next to?
Yeah, so the Land Cruiser was on the outer, so he was in the left lane. There's two lanes, the right and the left, and you had the Ford Falcon in the right and the Land Cruiser in the left, and they were both turning.
The truck went into the driver's side of that Falcon, by the way. The truck went into the driver's side
Yeah.
of the Falcon.
So the truck has immediately hit the driver's side of the Ford Falcon.
Oh,
So the truck has hit the driver's side of the Ford Falcon, and in the process, the driver has been ejected from the vehicle.
This is the second, we've just had a coronial hearing of the incident on the narrow highway in which that young chap was killed by a driver of a heavy vehicle that couldn't stop in time because he had distraction inside the cockpit. This is another incident involving a heavy vehicle. Is there some sort of thing, how can we do it? Is there a special message we should get out to drivers of heavy vehicles?
Well, I think it's a message that we get out to all drivers, whether they're driving heavy vehicles or driving small vehicles or driving motorbikes or cyclists. Drive to the conditions of the road and also obey the road rules and drive to the vehicle that you're driving. Be aware of your vehicle and know how to drive it. But unfortunately, these accidents are happening increasingly because people are not doing that.
Do you know if he refused to turn anyone lanes?
I believe so, but I can't comment.
Interestingly, the road toll this year is too high than the full year of last year. This must be a concern to police.
Oh, it's very disturbing. It's very much a concern. You know, we're trying to work to zero fatalities on our roads. You know, that's what we like. Every fatal is one too many. I'd love to say there'd be a time in our life where we didn't need the major collision team and we didn't have to do these fatals, but it's unfortunate.